Related poster? Check. Right, let's begin with the review of possibly the greatest book ever. So Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. I finished the book a couple of months ago. If I get anything wrong, you should read it so then you'll know if I get anything wrong. It's just, as a short review, it's just so good. Go right now and order it from your library or bookstore. It's incredible. I will make the point before we begin though that I did watch the TV series before I read the book, but because there's this gap between series, I thought, hey, I'll start from the beginning and I'll read all the way through and then watch the TV like sort of as it goes. The TV show is incredible. The book just as good, if not possibly better, because you imagine, your imagination makes things your own. So plot summary, there's basically 7 kingdoms, one king rules them all. He has a hand of the king, who's basically a guy who advises and sorts stuff out for him. The old hand of the king dies in mysterious circumstances, so the king, Robert Baratheon, goes off to the north to get his mate, Eddard Stark, to come and become his hand of the king to help him sort the kingdom out. A lot of stuff goes on, and the great thing with this book is that not only is their story as to what happens in the kingdom, as to what happens with the kids of Ned Stark, because they go off all different directions, and as to what happens in the Lannister house, who are trying to marry in and take over the kingdom. There's stories there's across the sea. It's not just one story. Usually you pick up a book, say Harry Potter, and it's all about Harry Potter, and it's about his adventure and what happens to him. Each chapter, it changes character. So you finish a chapter from one character's point of view, and then you move on to someone else's point of view. And that makes it kind of complex in explaining this general storylines, because there's so many. Jon Snow, he goes to the wall, which is up here, and protects the whole of the kingdom against the others and the people who are living outside beyond the wall, kind of like barbarians. But there's his story, and then there's Robb's story, because his father's gone off. He has to run Winterfell with his mother, and she goes off, and one of the criticisms I give about this book is it gets very complex, and it's kind of hard to remember who's doing what, who's where, and they've all got weird different names, so that can get a little trickier sometimes, but it stops it from just being this one story about one person and makes it this massive collection of stories all about different people. Now the writer could easily get bogged down doing it in this style, one character and then you switch to another character and then you sort of overlap all the information, but the way George R. R. Martin does it is he accelerates the story. So you have one character and he does some stuff, then you have another character and it's after the character before has done the stuff, so the story is always going on, it's always moving forward. Another thing I like about the story is that it's so rich, the characters are so deep, because you're seeing each chapter is being their story, if you like. You get to see their thoughts, their feelings, what they think about the king, what they think about what's going on the other side of the wall. And you invest in characters, and for a story to be really good, you have to invest in these characters. Otherwise, you don't feel anything and there's no point in it. But this, you do. You've been through all this stuff with these characters, and then suddenly something bad happens to them, and you think, that is bad, because it is bad, but also because you feel for these characters, and they become a bit more personal than just one narration, and everyone else is just a character, very 2D, whereas this it gives more depth. Another thing I like about this book is that it's not just good and evil. You get books where there's Voldemort, he's evil, Harry is good. Whereas this, the House of Stark is kind of this generally good house, and the House of Lannister is this generally bad house, but they both do things that are good and both do things that are evil. It mixes the whole thing up. It makes you think, hey, they're being evil to these other people, but they're doing it for a good reason. It's more realistic, I'd say. And then there's the whole aspect of politics, in with the ruling classes and working classes, and this feud going on between the Lannisters and the Starks and other houses, and it's all just placed together. It all seems to fit seamlessly, as if it were like a real world. In summary, it's basically a fantasy book that's realistic. That's possibly the best way I could put it. To be honest, I probably haven't done it justice. It's one of those books that you want to put down because you don't want it to end, but you want to keep reading to find out what happens. And because it's such a complex book, I am going to put some links to other reviews that people have done, and you can go and check them out, because you probably need several views of opinion, or just go and read it. You won't regret it. That is all. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.